Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little documentary reading of Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos. Anyway, he is also known as La Bestia, the Beast, or Trillion, named after a Disney character that you're all quite familiar with, Goofy. So, this man is a Colombian rapist and serial killer. Dun dun dun. He was born January the 25th in 1957. His early life, he had 7 brothers. He was the oldest. He lived in a home where he was physically and emotionally abused by his alcoholic father. And apparently this seems to be a pattern with serial killers, some anyway, about, having a horrible childhood. In his testimony, he described being subjected to sexual abuse. His abusive and unstable family situation and others led him to leave home when he was 16 years old with the attempt to start a new life from his family. He had a girlfriend who had a small child and recalls him getting along very well with that child. Garavito was also known by his friends to be kind yet easily angered. In 1999, he admitted to raping, torturing, and murdering 138 children and teens. His victims were based on the locations of skeletons that he had drew on a map in prison. Eventually, they could exceed to 300 victims. He continues to confess to more murders and has been described by local media as the world's worst serial killer. According to Attorney General's office and various judicial bodies, Lewis is the second serial killer of the world. Likewise, the judicial body ruled that all of his sentences, which are a total of 1,853 years and 9 days in jail, which is a very long time. Personally, I would have just killed the bastard, but to each their own. What type of victim did he choose, and what were his killing patterns? So, he identified them by age, gender, and social status. Lewis targeted boys between the ages of 6 and 16 who were either homeless, orphaned, or peasants. So upon approaching these young boys, either on a crowded street or alone in the countryside, he would lure them in by bribing the kids with small gifts. It would be money, candy, or any odd job. He offered easy work for money and even disguised himself as many different characters to make him seem legit, like a farmer, a priest, a drug dealer, a street vendor, a homeless man, an elderly man, or even a gambler. This would prevent suspicious activities, from developing. He would change his disguise often, and once he had the trust of the child, he would walk with that boy until they were tired and vulnerable, which made them easy to handle. So first, their hands were bound, and he would remove all of their clothes and proceed to torture, rape, and sometimes decapitate them. Usually the boy would endure prolonged rape and torture by having his PG-13 buttocks stabbed and sharpened. So, now on to some more details. If you don't want to hear about it, you just as well exit now. It's pretty nasty. Lewis would use objects. Said objects were inserted into the child's anus. Testicles were often severed and placed into his mouth. The bodies of the children were all found completely naked and this is awful. There were bite marks and sign of anal penetration. Bottles of lubricant were found near the bodies, along with empty liquor bottles. Most corpses showed signs of prolonged torture. So, he was pretty disturbed. I don't know really how you would, I don't know. You look at his pictures and he just kind of got that look anyway, but like, I don't know. Anyway, so throughout the investigation, beginning in 1992, boys between the age of 6 or 16 started to disappear. Due to the decades-long civil war, many of the children in Colombia were poor, homeless, and orphan, and for years these murders were gone unnoticed because many of the victims had no police report filed on their disappearance. So clusters of bodies had begun popping up all over Colombia, yet the Criminal Justice Department didn't take much notice until 1997, which mass graves were uncovered. This large number of missing children called for a widespread investigation, as these killings were not confined to a specific area. In February 1998, outside the town of Genoa, Colombia, 2 bodies of 2 naked children were found lying next to each other on a hill. The next day, only meters away, another child's body was found. All 3 bodies had their hands bound and bore signs of rape, as their anuses were torn open. These victims' necks were severely cut. Bruises were on their backs, genitals, legs, and buttocks. The murder weapon was found in the same area as the bodies, and a note that had been found at the crime scene had an address found on it. This information led to Lewis's girlfriend. She was contacted but told them that she had not seen him in months. She did, however, give the police a bag that he had left in her possession, and in that bag contained Lewis's belongings. They included pictures of young boys, detailed journals of his murders, tally marks of his victims, and bills. This new information led to Lewis's residence, but the property was vacant, so detectives believed that he was either traveling for work or away attempting to find his next victim. He was picked up by local police just a few days later on an unrelated charge of attempted rape against an adolescent boy. A homeless man had been close enough to observe the struggle between Lewis and the child and felt it was necessary to rescue the adolescent. He was arrested, and the police have had him in their custody, and that was the man, that most wanted killer in Colombia. So during the arrest and confession and sentencing, he was arrested on April the 22nd, 1999 on separate charges of attempted rape. Lewis was questioned about local killings and his attempts to rape charges, and after a short interrogation, detectives suspected Lewis of being the beast, although he had insisted of his innocence, as per usual. The detailed description of killings brought Lewis to tears. Yeah, nobody got time for crocodile tears, so he could have cried them to me all I wanted. I would have just punched him in the fucking head. For Colombia's justice system, Lewis' confession was not enough. So he had an eye condition which was rare and only found in men in a particular age group. His glasses were specifically designed for his unique condition. These glasses were found at the site of a mass grave. Lewis also left behind empty liquor bottles, his underwear, and occasionally his shoes, and DNA was found inside the victim's anal cavity along with other items left behind. Police scheduled the entire jail where he was being detained for an eye exam. The outcome of his eye exam would help police pair the glasses to Lewis. By making it mandatory for all prisoners, it reduced Lewis's suspicion, and it kept him from lying about his eyesight. So while he was in his cell, detectives took DNA samples from his pillow and his living area, and they all matched. So eventually he confessed to murdering 140 children, roughly. And he was charged with killing 172 altogether throughout Colombia. He was found guilty on 138 of the 172 accounts. The others are ongoing. Although the maximum sentence for murder in Colombia multiplied by 138, which comes to 1853, like I mentioned before, and 9 days, Colombia's law limits imprisonment to 40 years. But because he helped police find the victims' bodies His sentence was further reduced to 22 years. Bullshit. Currently, he is being imprisoned somewhere that is unavailable to the public. Worried about his safety, I guess, and well-being, he has made an arrangement with the police, and they're hoping that with his continued good behavior that he will give them more information and all that stuff. He is held separate from all other prisoners because it is feared that he would be killed immediately. He's paranoid about being poisoned, therefore he only accepts drinks which are given to him by individuals he trusts, and his guards are on very good terms with Lewis because he is relaxed, positive, and respectful towards them. He is considered to be a well-behaved inmate with a positive attitude. And guess what? He has a scheduled release, and that is 2021. Now, Colombian law, however, says that those who have committed crimes against children do not receive any benefit with justice and are required to spend at least 60 years of their sentence in prison. The number of years Lewis will spend in jail could be as high as 80. What are the public response? Many Colombians criticize the possibility of his early release. In recent years, Colombians have increasingly felt that Lewis's sentence was not sufficient punishment for his crimes, which I agree with because he was a piece of shit. Complete piece of shit. I don't understand why these pedophiles and rapists and murderers and all these sick bastards are just out there and they're just not taken shot right away. I mean, I could see if... I don't even know what I could see, to be honest with you. I honestly just don't know because they're dirtbags. And especially the thought of having some of them actually come back out on the streets. Yeah, that's bullshit. I would not be happy. If somebody had to rape my child, God forbid that ever happen, and I know who it is, they best kill them. Because I will. I will kill you. I will kill whoever tries to touch my child. And I'm not going to apologize for that, but that's true. So, anyway, I know I made a lot of language errors and I never really pronounced my words properly, but I was reading, trying to be fast because I kind of ramble. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, although I prefer you just not do anything at all. If this is something you like, just let me know in the comments below. If you'd rather see my face while I'm reading this to you, we can do that. You can see my reaction. It's very, I have many faces when I do that. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. There might be something on there that you might be interested in. Anyway, keep it real, and I will see you guys later.